Now in Jerusalem, by the sheep gate, there was a pool called in Hebrew Bethesda, which is 5 porticos. In these lay many invalids, blind, lame, and paralyzed. One man was there who had been ill for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he had been there a long time, he said to him, "Do you want to be made well?" The sick man answered him, "Sir, I have no one to put me into the pool, and the water is stirred up. And while I am making my way, someone else steps down ahead of me." Jesus said to him, "Stand up, take the mat, and walk." At once, the man was made well, and he stood on his mat and began to walk. Now that day was the Sabbath. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Christ. While you are still standing, I ask for you to enter with me in silent prayer for families, friends, victims in Buffalo, we've all dead. All those whose lives have been forever changed by gun violence. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. Keep seated. It is right for us to begin with prayer. I've seen that example from numerous mentors, and one of them is a priest named Harshard Murphy. He was my first Credo conference leader. The Credo conferences that I'm part of are designed to care for clergy wellness and to bring them to a new phase of their ministry and lives, ones to be shared with their congregations. And Harshard was my first Credo leader. I'm the spiritual faculty. And he always began with prayer, often with humor, and sometimes a bit sneaky. Because his prayer might take the shape of a poem. Billy Collins was one of his favorites. Or it might even be a short story. One was from when he was a young boy in Baltimore and had a crush on a neighborhood girl who lived a few houses down from him. It was a different time when kids ran through each other's houses without invite. However, one summer, he and the other neighborhood kids were told not to run through her house because her grandfather, Thurgood Marshall, was working on something very important. That something would become Brown versus Board of Education. And that's how Marshall would tell his stories. Almost as an aside, a parent, oh, by the way, but I heard him tell these stories a lot. And I know now that they were never casual. They always had a point towards transformation. It is right for us to begin with prayer. Like many faith traditions, prayer for Episcopalians grounds, inspires, connects, and compels us. Prayer expresses grief, remorse, and solidarity with others. Prayer gives a connecting voice to the profound and sometimes terrible reality where we know words are not enough. Episcopal Bishop of Missouri, Dion Johnson, shared this prayer to guide us. Oh God, we are angry. We are tired. We are broken. Our hearts are broken. Our souls are tired. Our spirits are angry. We ask, how many? How many families must bury their children to the deafening silence of political theater? How many children must be sacrificed to move us beyond mere thoughts and prayers? How many lives must be shattered before we find the moral courage to act? We have seen destruction. We have witnessed the devastation. We have endured the desolation. We are tired. We are angry. We are broken. You are the God who makes a way out of no way. Show us the way. Amen. It is right for us to begin with prayer. It is also not to be the ending point. Angela Davis sounded the Weaver's Serenity Prayer a little differently. She wrote, I am no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I am changing the things I cannot accept. The need to push on into the dangerous waters of actual transformation is part of our Christian responsibility. I know the tendency, even the desire to not wade into the waters of political controversy. But politics is the work of the people. No religion should control the work of the people. No religion should require their beliefs and practices on people as a whole. But our call to engagement in the issues of our time is real. The sports world has an interesting parallel with the modern church. At least since Connie Smith and John Carlos lifted their fists up in the 1968 Olympic Games, people have criticized those in sports who have taken political stands, while other people have been moved by such moments. NBA coach Steve Kerr's passionate words have arguably resonated with more people than any politician this week. When are we going to do something? Kerr yelled, slamming his fists on the table. I'm tired. I'm so tired of getting up here and offering condolences to devastated families that are out there. I'm so tired of the excuse. I am sorry. I am tired of the moments of silence. Enough. In the wake of recent mass shootings in Buffalo, New York, and Uvalde, Texas, the Tampa Bay Rays and New York Yankees, before their scheduled game together, collaborated to use their platforms to provide facts about gun violence in America, instead of providing wide commentary about the game. We all deserve to be safe in schools, grocery stores, places of worship, our neighborhoods, houses, and America, the Rays posted prior to first pitch. The most recent shootings in Buffalo and Uvalde have shaken us to the core. This cannot become normal. We cannot become numb. We cannot look the other way. We all know if nothing changes, nothing changes. Add the Yankees to their more than 3.6 million Twitter followers. The devastating effects that these take place in Uvalde, Buffalo, and countless other communities across our nations are tragedies that are intolerable. Tampa Bay pledged to make a $50,000 donation to the National Gun Violence Prevention Organization. The Rays, with more than $650,000, also changed their Twitter header to an image reading "End Gun Violence." We understand that no single organization can solve this crisis alone, the Rays posted, but working together, we can make an impact. Now, you can be certain that there were some nasty comments on their social media pages. Some simply said that they wish they'd keep it sports, their jobs of entertaining people. But there were also people reached who may not have been reached in another way, engaged more than ever before from their platforms. We need many things to change. Our attitude towards guns is one of them. The Reverend John Calvitz writes, "The good guy with a gun myth revolves around a scene in the heads of a gun owner of some perfectly played out magical movie moment which allows them to be the hero, unscathed and without human collateral damage. when in reality such circumstances rarely ever present themselves. That hero myth becomes more important and more real to these would-be cowboys than the very high likelihood that when all hell breaks loose, far more people will be endangered by a civilian with a gun than saved by them. After all, life is not a movie. The saddest truth, it continues, of the cowboy fantasy is that everyone believes they're the hero. Every single person who ever indiscriminately gunned down a group of strangers in cold blood, either through anger or mental illness or a fictional story they had told themselves, believed himself in that horrible moment to be the good guy with the gun, imagined their cause righteous, their rage merited, and their execution of others justified. Access to guns remains another thing to address. Other countries don't have the mass problem that we have, in part because their laws are different. In Canada, to buy a handgun, you have to prove that you practice an approved shooting range or club, or show that you are a gun collector. For any gun, complete a safety course and pass both a written and practical test. Ask for 2 references. You must list the name of partners that you've lived with for the last 2 years. All of whom must sign off on the application or at least be notified by the police before a gun is bought. Apply for a permit. Wait 28 days before the processing begins. Pass a background check that considers your criminal record, mental health, addiction, and domestic violence history. And register it with the police. Prayer remains critical to our work here, but only as it remains connected to fulfillment. At last night's temple service, Rabbi Joshua Caruso in the Cleveland area shared these words with his community of Fairmont Temple outside Cleveland. I am including his first-person moments to his congregation, and I hope dearly that you will hear my promise to you, the people of St. Paul's. In Judaism, we recite a lot of lessons. In fact, the rabbis derive from the Torah that every Jew should say at least 100 lessons a day. But even though there are many, we Jews take each lesson seriously. They are not to be squandered. In our faith, words matter. In order not to take God's name in vain, our sages instituted a law that forbids one from making a blessing without affecting its completion. There is a phrase we use specifically to specify what this happens, veracha levatala, which is a blessing that is said for no reason, or when its purpose is not fulfilled. This law serves as a reminder that one should not thoughtlessly utter a blessing unless they intend to fulfill it. If one does say a blessing with the best of intentions but fails to complete the act, that person is considered to have engaged in a transgression. In Judaism, a prayer or a blessing is precious, every single one. A blessing we share with you is our pledge that we see you, we strive to hold you, to be joyful with you, and to mourn with you. These are not blessings we offer to gain political gain or curry favor, and it is our daily job to inspire that confidence in you. In our country, it has become exceedingly clear that the thoughts and prayers offered by our nation's leaders, particularly as pertains to mass shootings, continues to go unfulfilled. As a religious leader, I can tell you that I appreciate peaceful and healing prayers that come from any and every avenue. However, what we are witnessing today is the steady dilution of the efficiency of prayers. In Jewish terms, these are the prayers that would be deemed as Racha Lavatala, an orphan blessing looking for a home, but utterly imbued with neither substance nor meaning. For example, in the name of religion, politicians have steadily weakened a person's right to choose, legislating the choices they should be able to make themselves. And yet those very same lawmakers, deeming themselves pro-life, choose to prioritize the right for a teenager to purchase and carry a military-grade assault weapon over the right of elementary school children to simply live free. We are living in a country tricked up with false religiosity. Words that are meant to comfort and soothe are dispatched as routinely as the pundits quip, and aimlessly float through the air with no apparent place to land. Those thoughts and prayers will never rest in peace. In this community, we are here for you. We see you. We know you may be in awe and grief. You may be losing sleep, worried about your loved ones. We all are. It's okay not to be okay. What I know is that we are stronger when we move through these raw moments together, and we each find ways to heal ourselves and our country. And may that prayer never be in vain. God, grant me the serenity to accept things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Amen. Every Cradle Conference, Harshford will begin with reflection on the gospel you've heard today. And you have Jesus asking the sick man, "Do you want to be well?" And the sick man assumes Jesus doesn't understand how it works. Oh, you've got to get in the pool only when it's stirred. You need to get help when people stand in front of you, and so on and so forth. Jesus wasn't asking about process. He asked, "Do you want to be well?" The process for 38 years hadn't worked. It was time to do something new. The wisdom of God, the love of God, and the grace of God strengthen you to be Christ's hands and heart and voice in this world.